Right,
Yeah.
right. This is kind of the first time of police departments.
Yeah,
had that
sounds like
discussion,
that.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's February meeting of the Lebanon Historic Preservation Commission. Christy, will you take the attendance roll, please?
So. Yes. Nicole Wethington. Here. Scott Sewell.
Here.
George Piper.
Here.
Linda Ridgway.
Here.
Casey Sampson.
All right. We do have a quorum to conduct business tonight. I would like to skip the election of officers for now to see if Casey does show up. So if we can move on to approval of minutes. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions from the minutes that you received? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes for the last meeting.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, motion carries. We have no old business, correct?
Right.
Okay. So one item on the, or next item on the agenda is new business, a certificate of appropriateness for Jay Schomburg of he's at 215 West Washington Street, requesting a certificate of appropriateness for replacement of non-historic storefront windows, adding storefront windows and brick repair. So first we will hear from staff, then we will hear from the applicant.
Thank you, George. And welcome to our new member tonight, Nicole Wethington. So hopefully tonight will be relatively painless. Should be a pretty straightforward certificate of appropriateness tonight, excuse me. As you said, tonight's applicant is Jay Schomburg at 215 West Washington Street, Lebanon, Indiana. The property is zoned central business. This property has not been before the Historic Preservation Commission, although it has received a staff certificate of appropriateness for removal of the non-historic awning in December of 2019. The building is classified as contributing, which is a building less than 50 years old and which is compatible with its historic surroundings, or a building which is over 40 years old and whose historic character remains but does not rise to the level of notable or outstanding. This building is included in the National Register of Historic Places, Lebanon Courthouse Square District. The building is does not have a tremendous amount of age to it. Looks like it was built somewhere in between the 50s and 60s. So the dry cleaners that was historically on the square, when they moved out of the location they were at on North Lebanon Street, they built this building and moved into it. So it's relatively a newer building in our district. So most of the components of the building, or which in front of you tonight, are not necessarily historic, and it looks like they have been replaced at some time over the years anyway. So the certificate of appropriateness is for window replacement and adding new windows and brick repair, as George said. Replace existing non-historic windows, adding new windows facing West Washington Street, and remove drive-up window and replace with repurposed brick from building facade, where they're going to remove brick for the new windows. So it'll all be repurposed and should match very well. The applicant has provided elevations with the application to show precisely the work that is proposed. Windows at this property have been previously replaced with a modern aluminum clad window. They are an older storefront replacement window. The applicant is proposing to replace them with a similar style, more efficient window. The door within the current storefront windows will be removed. The change will be very inconspicuous in the nature of the construction project. The applicant is proposing to add new windows on the northwest side of the street-facing facade. And I can show you pictures of what that looks like in case it gets a little confusing. And we are having some technical difficulties here tonight, so I'm gonna have to go a little bit old school. This is the current view of the building. Basically from the east, somewhat facing west. And there is, that's not good. Can't see it, sorry. I'm afraid that's as good as it's gonna get, maybe. Well, you can see the gist of it, and you all have it up there on your monitors, I believe, so, this is for just those at home tonight, but, removal of the awning will go great lengths in making this building look a little bit better, and also, the windows there, which I'm referring to, the new windows are those windows right there, and that's where the brick will be repurposed from. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties tonight. In that elevation, you saw a drive-through window that is going to be removed and replaced. As I mentioned, all the brick replacement will be brick used from the existing building. Staff recommendation, the proposed work is respectful to the architectural elements of the building and will not have a significant impact on the historical character of the building or the district. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the application for certificate of appropriateness.
All right, any questions for staff at this time? All right, thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
All right, next we will hear from the applicant. So if you just step to the microphone, give your name and business address, and just tell us a little bit about the project, please.
Hi, I'm Jay Schomburg. This is my son, JD. And our current business is located at 941 Monument Drive. That's across from the jail in the Brewmaster Coffee Building, the building just east of the new big Subaru warehouse. We intend to move our business there when the project's completed. And what other things, anything else specifically that you'd like to know?
If you take the awning off, is it going to leave damage? What will, in other words, anchor the awning to the wall?
We hope not, but we're not sure.
Yeah.
The good news is that if we remove that portion of the north-facing building where we'll be adding the 2 new windows, we'll have lots of extra bricks there. So we will have a masonry expert to do that if we need to cut and add. It shouldn't be noticeable when we're finished with the project.
And that awning goes all the way around right now, right? Around 2 sides?
It goes pretty well around 2 sides, yes.
Yeah.
Curious, what is the nature of your business? Not that this matters.
It's a little nerdy computer type stuff.
Well, I saw the robotic on there, so I just didn't know if
Yeah, we started out, the business is 28 years old. We started out in 1991 as a software for manufacturing, and expanded and grew that to 3D printing when it started coming out in its early days, and also 3D scanning. So we rode the 3D printer wave for about 10 years and are not so much focused on that because that's a pretty common commodity now, but specializing more in 3D scanning. So I don't know how deep we want to get, but if somebody has an object, a part, whether it's a mold or a building or a bridge, we have 8 different scanning systems where we can scan airplanes, bridges, buildings, and be very, very accurate, like 1/2 millimeter over hundreds of feet. Or if it's a mold or some manufacturing part that they need reproduced where there's no computer model of it now, our scanners can scan over that. We can create a computer model very, very accurately.
So mostly our customers are manufacturing, and we focus on a quality control application. So we make sure that they're making the parts the right way.
So JD's bringing the robotic element to that we can take our scanners now and mount them on a robot so that they can move around the parts in an automated fashion. For instance, we do IndyCar. In 2014, when they knew the 2015 cars would change, Honda and Chevrolet, they asked us to put together a system because they had no way of measuring the cars in the new aerodynamic bodywork. So we put together a system that worked for that, and then attended all the races the next year with them just to verify all the bodies. So every car had to go through our scanning process before it was allowed out on the track.
You won't have a problem with parking? There's not much space.
We're only 5-person company, so and occasionally but rarely have visitors. So we are figuring 6 parking spaces in the 215 West Washington. We also purchased the 125 Northwest Street building, which is the building immediately adjacent to the west, and we'll have probably 5 or 6 spots there. So it should be plenty for what we need.
So with the downtown acceptance of, I believe, is it a 50% reduction or?
Yes.
Yeah, so with the 50% reduction, we still think we'll have about 3 times as many spots as we need.
Any other questions for the applicant at this time? All right. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It is a public meeting. I do not see anybody from the public here other than the applicants. So we will not have any public comment on this proposal then tonight. Any other thoughts from the board before we move to a vote? If not, I will entertain a motion on the COA.
I move that we accept the COA as presented.
All right, have a second?
I will second.
All right, Christie, will you take the roll for the votes, please?
Yes. Nicole Wethington,
Yes.
George Piper,
Yes.
Linda Ridgway,
Yes.
Scott Sewell.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much. The only other item we had today was the election of officers. I would like to, if no one has an issue with it, would like to move that to the March meeting, only because I, would like to have a full board here for officers if possible. I don't think Casey would have a problem with being nominated in absentia, but at the same time, I don't want to just assume that he wants to take the mantle of president again. So we probably should take a motion on moving that to the March meeting. So do I have a motion to move if there's any other discussion on that, I don't want to just plow through. All right. I'll entertain a motion then to move the election of officers to our March meeting.
So moved.
Or a second?
Second.
All right. Christie, you take the roll on that vote, please?
Nicole Wethington,
Yes.
George Piper,
Yes.
Linda Ridgway.
Yes.
Scott Sewell.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Christie, is there any other business before the board tonight?
No.
All right, a motion to adjourn, please?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Nicole, you got a second. There you go.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.